Tre'vell and Jarrett. I love it.
And please take that part out.
Hey there, beautiful people. Welcome to FANTI, the podcast for all those complex and complicado conversations about the gray areas in our lives. I am Tre'vell Anderson.
And I am Jarrett Hill. Coming up on the show today, we've got a fun situation happening here as we're getting into our What Was Said. A little bit later on, we're going to be joined by producers Laura Swisher and
Palmira Muniz.
I was going to say, are you going to say it? Okay. But we're going to dive into our final What Was Said episode, getting to some of those speak pipes that we've heard from y'all and also the letters that have come in. Tre'vell, I'll let you get us started.
Yes. I feel like a lot of the messages we will be reading and listening to, right? They're the farewell ones. So, I just want to give everyone just a proper disclaimer. That we we might be going down memory lane this episode a little bit. It might get a little emotional.
From you?
Wow.
From you?
Wow.
I've never seen you be emotional about anything.
Wow.
I've never seen you be like, oh, I'm choked up right now. Never.
Well, I've survived. Okay, we've got an email here. Alrighty, let's get to these emails. We have one here from Nicole. She, her pronouns, okay? Hi, Tre'vell and Jarrett. I am writing this email to let you know that I am so sad to hear you are ending the show. I'm an OG listener and have enjoyed taking this journey with you both. I know that amazing things are in store for you, and I am excited to see what the next chapter brings. In the meantime, here are 10 things I'll miss most from the show in no particular order. 1, the complex and complicado of it all. 2, Jarrett dying on that tater tot hill. He's wrong, by the way.
Now wait a minute here. Just now, hold on. I want to address this because this is probably my last time to say something about it, and we're going to get back to your list, Cole.
Oh, Lord.
I thought about this the other day as I was putting tater tots into the air fryer. I was like, when did this start? Like, how did we get here? And we have an episode that we were talking about. I think Renaissance had just come out. And we were talking about that. And like, it was a thing where we were talking about the kinds of French fries that we like. And it's called Come for Beyonce, Stay for the Season fries. And like, we were talking about the kinds of fries that we love. And I mentioned that I also think tater tots need to be a part of the conversation. Right. Then it became that Jarrett hates French fries and is only about tater tots. And now I've really started to stand in that shit.
Well, shout out to everybody in French Fry Hive. Okay, number 3 on Nicole's list is Tre'vell taking every opportunity to bring up Fantasia. You're absolutely right. Shout out to, now you have to call her the Golden Globe nominated season 3 winner of American Idol, Fantasia Barrino. Okay?
Taylor.
Put some respect on her name. Well,
Oh, but not on her last name. You said not on that nigga's name.
Not on his, on hers. Okay? Okay? This is no his and hers. This is hers only. Okay?
I've seen in the last few years, I've seen like women who are doctors go by doctor their last name, not their husband's last name, because he didn't go through the school to get the degree. And I was like,
absolutely.
I fuck with it.
Period.
Go on.
Exactly. There wasn't no hyphen Taylor, okay, singing barefoot on the stage, okay, summertime. Okay? He wasn't there.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, back to Nicole's letter. We are Nicole's top 10 things that she will miss from the show. Okay, number 4, Jarrett's Oprah obsession.
I love it.
Which, side note, Oprah has been looking so good for this Color Purple promo cycle. Like all of them, to be clear, but Oprah especially.
Oprah has been looking like this is what you could look like if you had all of this money and all of this favor and all of this. Like, you could. You too.
Big purr.
Could be this great. I just want to point out, Oprah is 69 years old, and on January 29th next year will turn 70. And so as you are looking at her give you all this badassery
Wow.
everywhere that she goes, be aware that is a 70-year-old woman giving you everything that you want and need.
I love old black women. I love old black women. All right, number 5. Every time Tre'vell says hallelujah. Now, see, I don't know. Now, which hallelujah is it? It's just like regular hallelujah? Is it hallelujah? Is it, hallelujah? I don't know what I be giving y'all.
The Shangela adjacent that you just gave us right here, I can't.
Okay, number 6. Jarrett's Dipsy voice. Aww.
Oh, we haven't done a Dipsy ad in a while. They haven't given us money. But it is. I think our Dipsy connection ended earlier this year. But
yes.
Just so you know, it's.
Oh wow, not this.
The voice is still here, and
wow.
I mean, it's also a little nasally because I have a cold. But
number 7, Tre'vell breaking into song at any given moment. Wow.
Oh. Please stop playing with me.
You know what, Nicole? Read me, okay? Number 8, Jarrett at times oversharing when he introduces himself at the top of the show.
I started writing down like a list of things to put in as my intros. Maybe I'll give y'all one more intro before we go. Maybe one more.
Number 9, Tre'vell saying, "My God, today," which I say a lot. I do say that a lot.
It's funny because like the things that you or I end up saying, the other person ends up saying a lot. And like every time I write "my God today" in an Instagram comment or an Insta story caption or whatever, I'm like, fucking Tre'vell.
And last but not least, number 10, both of your professionalism, creativity, and hard work. You have made me laugh, question things, and dive deep into so many different topics I otherwise might not have. Thank you so much for these last 4 years. I wish you all the best. Can't wait to read the books. Best, Nicole.
Aww. Thank you, Nicole.
That was so beautiful.
I appreciate that she gave us a top 10 list. Like, she was like, no, I told you I was an OG listener, and I mean it. Let me show you. So, Nicole, we appreciate it.
Very, very that. Oh, that was wonderful.
We told y'all to go to speakpipe.com/FANTI to give us some audiograms to be able to kind of hear from you all, hear your voices on the show. And we're going to listen to one of the first ones right now. Take a listen to Eric.
Hi, Jarrett and Tre'vell. Forgive this morning voice, but I had to get this voice memo into you to say thank you so much for bringing us so much love, light, laughter. I guess I should tell you who I am. I'm Eric Lige in San Diego, California. I had the joy of getting to meet you at your book signing, and I have been an avid listener since the genesis of your show.
Yes.
From the beginning of 2020 until this very day, every single Thursday, I've gotten up and looked forward to listening to one of my absolute favorite podcast shows. And that's been your show. Your show has really been meaningful to me in this season of life and me coming to terms with moving through life as a Black gay man and fully embracing that. And so I've learned so much. I've received so much light, love, laughter. So thank you for the enlightenment. Thank you for bringing the fullness of who you are to this podcast and really blessing the world with your gifts, your commentary. Thank you so much. And I wish you the absolute best. I'm so bummed that y'all are finishing in this season, but I absolutely understand. And I wish you the very best. Thank you.
Aww. I should say there are a number of fans of the show, members of the FANTI fam, who y'all as listeners know by name. Dr. Diet, we talk about Sheena, we talk about various different folks. Eric is one of the listeners whose names I recognize when I see it pop up in my DMs or at an event, because Eric has been to our event. So shout out to Eric for all the love and support of the show and the books and all the different things. So thank you for the love, and we see you.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, Eric rides hard for us. Eric came to our 1010 Wine and Events, Historically Black Phrases Live event that we did. Drove up from San Diego to attend that event. Has been super supportive in this journey. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to hear that, the show was helpful in, has been helpful in helping you, like, claim all of yourself. I love that because, if nothing else, I want people to love on themselves and claim themselves as loudly and proudly as they wish. So thank you for that, Eric.
Something else I should note here. I don't know if it was first season that we got the information, the data, or second season. But early in the run of the show, we got Maximum Fun had done some data on the show, like on our listeners, to like get a sense of who's listening to the show.
A little surveying.
And we had one of the data points said that we over-index with trans and non-binary listeners, which is one of those things that I'm like, clearly is attributed to me and my presence here. And so when I think about...
You think you funny.
No, but obviously that's because of your presence here, right? And your representation on this show. And like, to know that like we also know that we have like an outsized queer audience as well from the ways that we look at other shows and their audiences. And so to know that folks have felt seen and felt connected and felt represented in the show and the work that we've been doing here is really, it does something. It makes it like feel like it's been worth it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, y'all, we are going to take a quick break. Okay. And when we come back, we will get into more of you all's emails and your speak pipes.
Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Skip the meal planning, grocery shopping, chopping, prepping, cleaning up, and get Factor's fresh, never frozen meals delivered to your door. They're ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. Factor isn't just for dinner. Count on extra convenience any time of day with an assortment of 55 plus add-ons to suit various preferences and tastes. Choose from breakfast items, lunch to go, grab and go snacks, and ready to go cold pressed juices, shakes, and smoothies. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes with no prep and no mess. I've told y'all before that I really love Factor. I just added to my order like getting smoothies and like protein shakes, and they're really delicious and easy. Like I cannot overstate how helpful it has been to me to be able to have like ready prepared stuff when I'm ready to just go into the kitchen and eat something and I don't want to order fast food or something like that. It's been really, really fantastic for me.
Yes, I have also done the Factor. Super convenient when, you like me, you overbook your work days, and so you sometimes forget to eat. Having some Factor meals in the Frigidaire that you can just pop into the microwave. Listen, so good. Head to factormeals.com/FANTI50 and use code FANTI50 to get 50% off. That's code FANTI50 at factormeals.com/FANTI50 to get 50% off.
Welcome back to the FANTI. We are getting into your letters, your speak pipes, your voices, and all the things as we finish up one last What Was Said. We have an email here from Natanya. Natai, how do you pronounce this?
I don't know. That's how you pronounce it. That's what this individual provided us. Nata-ia.
The email says, I wanted to take the time to say a deep thank you to both Jarrett and Tre'vell and the beautiful FANTI team. My heart sank when I heard the news because you all are a light and safe space and a deep comfort to me. I came out to my family on my 30th birthday in 2020 after being deeply involved in the white with 5 H's evangelical church. The ways that you spelled these words are hilarious.
I think that was oof.
Was that oof? I thought it was saying off of it.
No, because it's 2 O's and 3 F's, beloved. Oof.
Okay.
Girl.
It says, what a year of redemption for me, y'all. I wasn't able to create a Black queer community in the thick of the pandemic, and you all saved me. Listening to your stories, listening to you navigate faith, and listening to you be fully yourselves was healing. You all are anointed and holy and more than loved. I can't wait for the bigger and better and more spacious, more bountiful things God has in store for you from the bottom of my heart. Oh, like, that's really beautiful. I haven't really talked about it here on this platform very much, but like a lot of the work that I want to do next is really centered around the ways that queer and trans people show up in spaces of faith and how we really kind of investigate. I want to do some study around like how the church has impacted Black, queer, and trans people and how we have impacted the church and how we can use that information to build better communities for us and tell our stories better. And so to hear that the faith piece of the show has connected with you as well is really resonant for me.
Yes, and like Nataiya, I look forward to the unfolding of TD Jarrett before our very eyes.
Okay, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you or Ryan.
One of the things that I have thought about are, we have had some really interesting conversations around faith and spirituality, and I think this will come up a little bit probably in our final episode next week. But I think when I look back on the show, I think it documents our own journeys in really interesting ways, as individuals, as it relates to certain topics and ways of thinking and being in the world, and then especially in regards to spirituality and church and faith and how all of that has manifested for us in various different ways over the last few years. So it is interesting to look back at that journey as not only a documentation of our own transitions of life, but also perhaps some of the folks in the audience as well, right? Who were able to glean something from what we shared.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that email. Okay, we're going to get into 2 voice memos. We're going to play them back to back. All right, y'all. We have a voice memo from Carrie and then a voice memo from Adam.
Hey, Jarrett and Tre'vell. This is Carrie from Ohio. I just wanted to wish you guys the very best and send you some love. I've been listening to you guys since the very beginning. I'm a teacher, a mother, a musician, and you guys have been both my entertainment, my me time, education for the educator, from the very beginning. And I wanted to reach out and let you know that you've been so key in my journey of learning more about how to advocate for my students, especially those who need more advocacy than others, how to be less cringe as a recovering white woman, especially among my colleagues and friends in the NAACP, as I continue to try to create a new tomorrow that's better than the one that we're finding ourselves in. And I just want you guys to know that you are such a gift to so many of us, and you just deserve all the love and all the flowers. And I hope you guys are immensely successful in your next journey. All the best.
Hi, Tre'vell and Jarrett. This is Adam Leo from Rochester, Minnesota. I wrote in on the first season. It was, I think, the episode about being single or dating or something like that. And you both gave me a lot of confidence in getting back out there after a 14-year relationship. So having both of you in my ear, making me laugh, making me think, just meant a lot to me. So I love you both, and I can't wait to hear what you do next. And I can't wait to hear Tre'vell on the next episode of What a Day.
Period. Oh, girl, I gotta put you in a class for that.
It's still not right?
No, that was better than you've ever done it.
That's because I can't breathe through my nose right.
Then, see?
Huh? Yes? Shar will text me about this, and I will find out if I did it right. I've been voice noting her.
Of course you have. Of course you have. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I just want to say, so to share a little bit from Carrie and Adam's voice notes here. You talked about how this show has been an interesting thing to kind of like track our journeys over the years. I should note, when we started this show, it debuted the first week of February in 2020. And we all know how things went that year, very soon thereafter.
My God, today.
But like, you had just been laid off at Out Magazine the 2 days before Christmas, as you like to remind us.
Not you telling my business.
You had just left. Well, listen, every time we've ever done anything everywhere, you talk about being laid off at Out Magazine on December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas.
Because I'm still not over it.
You shouldn't be. But like, that had happened for you. I had just left the national radio show that I was hosting, not wanting to renew the contract and not happy with my co-host and not, happy with the things that were happening there. But I had also just turned down a job at NBC News that I just was not interested in taking.
Oh, yes.
And I was anxious about having said no, but we had just launched the podcast and I was like, I don't know if I want to move and all these other things. And then the pandemic started 6 weeks later. And so I was really grateful that I didn't take that job. But it's been interesting to see our journeys from the beginning of the show, because for you, right, we've seen like the evolution of pronouns, right? At the beginning of the show, you were like, kind of like, the way that you would talk about pronouns was like, I don't care what the pronouns are as long as they spell my name right on the check. And now it's more like, no, honey, it's they, them, and use it, right?
Period.
The pronunciation of your name about Tre'vell.
And also spell my name right on the check.
But like the pronunciation of your name, we've seen that evolve over time. I know for myself, hearing Carrie talk about teaching and her students, it makes me think about two things. Number one, hearing from people that they were using things that we discussed on the show in class or in their thesis or in their works that they were submitting for as students, but then also hearing from teachers. But like over the course of the 4 years of this show, now I'm a professor at USC, which is something that I never would have anticipated or even asked for. And like teaching journalism at USC has been such an exciting, fun, unexpected change for me over the years. And so to kind of see our journeys through the show in that way as well has been great. I also appreciate Carrie referring to herself as a recovering white woman. I remember one of the first things that one of the early episodes, maybe like the 5th-ish episode, was after we had done a number of episodes and hearing from white people who would always start their emails off with, I know this show isn't really for me, or I know that I'm not the target audience for this show, or what have you.
Oh, yeah.
We did an episode called Why White People Love Wakanda, discussing white people being attracted to the show and what we're discussing, but also saying just because we are Black and queer and trans, being able to tell our stories doesn't mean that this show is not for you, right? Because we are not white people, and we see whiteness as being for everyone, and we see all of the other intersections of intentional marginalization as being other and not necessarily for us. And that's something that we have to break. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and Adam mentioned that we apparently, I don't remember this, but apparently we gave Adam some advice about, getting back, out in the streets, okay, dipping it and doing it after the end of that relationship. Now, you did not say, Adam, that, things are going well in that regard. I would hope it is, but at minimum, glad that you got back out there.
I would say that Adam saying that they feel great about themselves and feel more confident out in the world tells us that things are going well, whether they're dating or not.
Well, I just like a little. It don't have to be dating. It could be fornication. It could be self-love. It could be like, oh, I really found a nice butt plug that does everything that I need it to do. It could run the gamut,
I did not see that coming.
It could be I joined a monastery and I express my sexuality through tending the garden at the monastery or something,
I love the two options. It's either really great butt plug or monastery. And that's what we're doing.
I was trying to go with, extremes to demonstrate a range, a plethora.
I would also hope that the girls at the monastery, since they're not getting it anywhere else, that they have some butt plugs or some other kinds of plugs or other things to keep them satisfied, because I would imagine that it's its own particular challenge. Amen?
Oh, this gives me a long list of things that I want to Google, but I will save that for off of the microphone. All right, we are going to move to an email here from Peter. Email from Peter. Hey, Tre'vell. Hello, Tre'vell and Jarrett. I'm Peter, a longtime listener from London, UK. I got to find out about your podcast around mid-2020 from Aisha Harris on Pop Culture Happy Hour, who listed you as her happy one week when she was a guest before she got her permanent host slot. I went back and listened to all of your episodes and has been so wonderful to tune into you every week. Oh, I should say this is a long email. I know a lot has been said about parasocial relationships, but your chemistry, thoughtfulness, and brilliance, added to how much you keep it real and keep it real queer, has made your podcast truly very, very special to me. It is a cliche of people who write into podcasts, but I happen to exist in a very specific intersection that you are. And even among my real life friends, I don't feel as seen as I do with the breadth of conversations you manage to have. Their reluctance to even listen to the podcast has often made me sad and brought to focus the fact that I have not always had the avenue to share these specific kinds of conversations with people in my life. And the end of this podcast has just made me feel grief in a way that I didn't expect to feel or know how to process. It's a weird thing, this podcasting thing. You get together in person or remotely and have a natter. A natter? Oh, that's gotta be the UK.
I love this word.
You get together in person or remotely and have a natter amongst yourselves or with the most thoughtful, insightful guests, and I listen in and have a fill of things missing from my life. And just like that, you decide to end? How very dare you? I'll be honest that I, in a state of unearned entitlement, am in a foul mood on weeks where there are no new episodes from you. I really like your take on pop culture, the references to Black history, and whatever foolishness is in the news or culture. And I always wonder before episodes with big news stories what your take on it would be. Tre'vell, you gave the most articulate explanation of the quote-unquote bad taste Shuti Gatwa feature in Vogue, the bad taste that feature in Vogue left in my mouth, and the follow-up was just exemplary. You both have made no bones about showing you're working, learning in public, and are always happy to be held to account. The letters from fellow listeners, and especially Dr. Diet, prove this, and have always helped tease out nuanced perspectives and careful considerations to be made, a very rare approach for a pop culture podcast to take, and yet still remain organic and down to earth. You are too much. Thank you so much for being yourselves and sharing your lives with us. I can't wait to see what you do. And Jarrett, if it's not too late, can you sign my copy of Historically Black Phrases when you come to London? Pretty please. Love you both. And to the producers who helped make this happen, Peter.
Oh, love this. There's so much to address here, but only so much time.
Yeah, choose one.
Number one, want to shout out to Aisha Harris and the Pop Culture Happy Hour team, because I know that our first episode got shouted out by Linda over on Pop Culture Happy Hour. And that had like a big impact on the show. Actually, we had a lot of people who we saw in our reviews on Apple and in letters and tweets and things like that, people saying like, oh, I heard of this show from Linda and the team over at Pop Culture Happy Hour. So shout out to them. I want to say Aisha Harris, who you mentioned, has a new book out. It's called Wannabe: Reckonings with the Pop Culture That Shapes Me. And so you guys can go check out her book. It is available now wherever you get books. I'm also fascinated by, you talked about parasocial relationships, and like a friend of mine, Dr. Corey Emanuel, you can find him on all the social media. He is a media psychologist, and we have a lot of conversation around a lot of these different things, and like parasocial relationships or relationships with folks that you don't actually know or have like a physical contact with, but like watch on a show or are familiar with on social media or whatever the connection is. It's been something very interesting to me lately, and so to hear you discuss it in this way has been really, really interesting. And to answer your question, yes, I'm more than happy to sign your book when I come to London. I'm not sure when I'm coming, but I'm hoping to be there in the first or second quarter of next year, because I feel like there's something there for me that I've been feeling kind of like pulled in that direction. So we'll see.
You always being pulled in some direction. Do you ever get dizzy?
Well, I didn't say I was getting spun around. There's that. There is that.
Okay. Whew, sorry. Okay. Thank you so much, Peter. I think one of the interesting things about this show is that intersection of just anytime that I'm asked to explain what FANTI is, even going with the boilerplate copy that we came up with, always feels just like inadequate to actually capture what we've been doing here. So thank you for that reflection, Peter. Okay, we're going to get into two more voice memos. First one's from Adriana, and the second one is from John.
Hey, Tre'vell and Jarrett. This is Adriana calling in from Baltimore, and I want to just share my love of FANTI as it comes to a close after 4 years. I've been an avid listener since year one, have not missed an episode, and have deeply and thoroughly enjoyed your takes your breakdowns, your fan and your anti for many subjects. Especially as a person who's a communications professional, it was exceptionally wonderful to hear perspectives from two folks who share community with me as Black queer people, talking about some of the work that I do on a regular basis, but on a larger scale and platform. It's been truly remarkable seeing the show grow, and I've gotten to know many new folks via your guests and got put onto so many things from the duration of the show, and I just want to say thank you. And even as a personal note, FANTI was one of the connection points for me and my current girlfriend on our first date. We went on a first date about 2 years ago.
Ooh.
We mentioned podcasts that we love, and I mentioned FANTI. And I thought that maybe she wouldn't know what it was. Maybe it was too niche of a show. And lo and behold, not only did she know about the show, but she used it in reference to some of her work. And that was the moment when I knew that this might be my forever love. And 2 years later, we are still here. We regularly listen to the show and talk about it every week. So you both will be missed. And we love FANTI.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, let's go to John.
Hey, Jarrett and Tre'vell, this is John in Los Angeles. I just want to say hello, and I just want to say thank you to you both for this fantastic show of yours. I've been a fan for several years. I'm a contributing member to the show through Maximum Fun. I bought the book, Historically Black Phrases, which has been great so far. So obviously the show's ending. I'm having conflicting feelings about it, so let's break it down. So the fan of you guys ending the show is the fact that you guys are ending it on your terms and how you see fit. You guys can bring it to closure and how you envision it, which I am a big fan of. I think that's fantastic. I think that's great. The anti of it, well, I'm going to miss having the show in my feed, having new episodes. But, in the grand scheme of things, thank you. Thank you for putting this show onto my plate. And thank you for bringing forth such great conversations, great discussions that make me really think and make me laugh out loud all the time. I look forward to what the two of you do in the future, and I will follow you every step of the way. All right. Thank you. Take it easy. Oh, and tater tots are delicious, but they're not French fries. Okay, bye.
Okay, you know what, John? You know what, John? You know what? I was gonna say nice things, and then you had to attack me at the end. So first of all, I just want to say for Adriana, you said you're in Baltimore. Hopefully we can see you in DC when we're on tour.
Yes.
Obviously we announced last week we're going to be on Historically Black Phrases live. We'll be on tour with our game show. And we'll be in DC on February 8th. For those of you that want to join us, go to historicallyblackphrases.com/live. And you'll be able to see where all the different cities in Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, and DC. So hopefully we'll see you there for that. This piece about you connecting with your girlfriend over the show,
very, very,
very, very kind of thing for me. I love that. That's so cool. I love that.
So now you gotta bring your girl. You and your girl gotta come to the DC stop, and you need to make sure that you tell us, like, hey, I'm Adriana from the podcast. Y'all shouted me out. Da, 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 da. I love that. I love that so much. Aw. And then shout out to John. I love John's little fan and anti breakdown.
I know. John was like, John having a fan and an anti was like a perfect voice note to have. I also love that John was like, I want to be clear, like, I'm really about this. Bought in at Max Fun. I bought the books. I'm doing the things. I so appreciate that support, John. Thank you so much. It's also interesting to me because, and I've probably said this on the show before, since I've started doing broadcast media on podcasts and television and other stuff, like, I always feel like I can hear the audience in my head asking questions. And I try to ask the questions that I think that they would want to ask.
Girl.
But I also still have this complex of like thinking that no one is listening to this.
Oh.
Right. And like, we're putting it out there, and like, I mean, I know that we have numbers and it says people are listening, but like in my mind, it's also still like no one's really paying attention to what we're doing. And so to hear that, people have had points of connection with their partners and have like seen this show up in their lives in all kinds of different ways, from John and Adriana, it's just, it hits, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Same. Okay, we got an email here from another consistent voice that we've heard on the show before in terms of the listener letters, Sean C. Levy or Levy, Jarrett?
I believe it's Levy.
Levy. Okay. Tre'vell and Jarrett, I cry sans tears, light a candle, and pour out non-alcoholic beer. Before the portal closes, I wanted to write these words. The opening of We See Each Other, if complete, is the first true LGBTQIA plus national anthem.
Yes!
I wanted FANTI to be the centerpiece of the first POC LGBTQIA2SNB plus and Friends podcast summit. I want Jarrett to sell me luxury cars I can't afford. I want the first non-binary dress collection, the Hills Home collection, and Anderson's to die for chicken patties in my local big box store. I want it all, everywhere, from houseware to homewares, silver screens to television. I want and want and want. But I acknowledge I received more than enough. As I blow out the candle, but before we move onward like the smoke, I wish and I hope you too continue to show people how to effortlessly fly too close to the sun. With gratitude, Sean C. Levy. Aww. Now we got poets in the mix.
Okay.
Not you wrote us a sonnet.
Listen, with demands, okay? Like, I want...
Well...
It's interesting. Tre'vell, you know this. I have a creative incubator that currently has 118 different projects in it and like things I want to create.
Did you just look it up? You just pulled it up and opened it, didn't you? Because you had to get the right number.
Well, because I updated the number and I was like, what's the number? It's 118.
I know my friend.
I remember you asking me in a meeting a couple of months ago, like, are you ever burdened by the weight of your creativity? And I was like, God damn, let me process that. I don't know. But to these points, so like Tre'vell is going to be doing a collection that I think will be at Macy's of like non-binary clothing, giving the girls all kinds of looks. And collaborate, or it'll be at New York and Company. You and Gabrielle Union, I'll pair up on that. The Hill Home collection, don't play because we'll see. I do intend on doing a bit more interior design next year, so. That Tre'vell, are you making chicken patties? What's in the new chicken wrap?
I hate you so much for that. I hate you so much.
Last night I went and saw the Book of Clarence, which is coming out in January, and there's like a crowd scene where everyone's kind of just staring. And in my head, I heard Mary J. Blige go, "What's in the new chicken wrap?" And like I had to not burst out in laughter because the director was sitting like 2 feet away from me.
I hate you.
And what's in the new chicken wrap has been just sitting in my spirit. So
I hate you so much.
And then I appreciate all of the love from Sean. And you know, we've got more things coming for y'all. We got a lot more to do. So thank you for all that.
Thank you, Sean. We do. I will just say really quickly, it is also wonderful to see that one of the things that has been received is the multiplicity of visions and dreams that we have, that we are already working toward and will continue working toward being realized, right, by the folks who are listening. So thank you, Sean, for that. Okay, we've got a few more voice memos before the next break. Let's take a listen to Jeff.
Hey, Tre'vell and Jared. So this is a message, in reply to y'all ending the podcast. One, I am sad, but mostly I just wanted to thank y'all for this amazing podcast. And it's been great to just like listen to episodes and learn things. Quick FYI, I'm a cis-het black dude, so I appreciate y'all's perspectives on things. And mainly one I really wanted to say was that I forget what episode it was exactly, but when y'all both mentioned that your podcast hasn't had a single like white guest on there, and then you explained how things like that were on purpose, I sat there and I thought, it's like, damn, we could do that. But of course, that's the whole point. That's why we made a podcast, because this is things that you can do when you're in control. So, I respect that a lot. And it made me think about like future creative things I'm going to do. So I'm going to make sure that's blackity black. Anyway, I'm rambling. This is longer than a minute. I really appreciate y'all perspective. It has helped me, stop and think about, how I'm moving about the world, how I can be better at the things I do. So I appreciate y'all a lot. And y'all stay moisturized, blessed, and highly favored.
Hiya. Oh, hasha da 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 bo.
I should say the interesting thing about like us never having had a white guest on the show, and I think white people know that on the show as well. it's been interesting because like in the things that I've produced over the years with podcasts specifically, I think Black to Reality, when we did that show, I don't think we had white guests on, and it wasn't like fuck white people. It was more so about like there are so many diverse voices that never get to have a platform, that are really educated, that have really insightful things to say or really important things to bring to the conversation. And like having come from like a cable news background and television, like I feel like it's so white, right? Even on the shows where we have Black hosts and we have a lot more diverse contributors, to us it has been something really important that we are always thinking about the intersection. I think about that in class as well. When I bring guests to the class, I want them to look back over the course of the semester and be like, oh, we had trans folks, we had queer folks, we had Black folks, we had women, we had all of the different kinds of, we have various different kinds of representation in class. And so it's been an important thing for us here at the show as well. So I love that.
Absolutely.
And also, I'm always surprised when we have cis-het Black men listening to the show, because in my head that's not happening. And I'm always like, I love it. Yes.
Listen, yes. Shout out to the black man. Okay. Yeah, no, I think I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, about us like being intentional about not having white people on the show. I just want to put a note on that, right? Like, I remember, to your point, Jared, you were talking about the cable news of it all and how all of the experts would be white people talking about race in America, white people talking about poverty, white people talking about trans issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing on, kind of the print digital side as well. I remember working at the LA Times and realizing that all of the quote unquote experts that we most consistently went to, or I should say that my colleagues most consistently went to, were all these old white men, to be explicit. And so, yeah, we can and we should and we have to be intentional, right, about not only showing the folks and tapping the folks who have a sort of expertise, who look and live and exist like us, but also allowing folks to be the experts of their own experiences, right? And I think oftentimes we think that an expert needs to have a PhD, needs to hell, even a college degree, where they need to work in a particular, position or with a particular organization. And the reality is that's just not quite the case, right? Regular, everyday people we have seen through many of our guests, right, went on to be able to accomplish these, unimaginable at once thoughts and experiences. And so I love that the straight black man. He probably the only one out there. Shout out to you, Jeff. And we should say the other straight black men who are listening because their girlfriends, right, or their wives or their partners, I'm just saying.
Don't do that to them.
Her name has been invoked on this episode already at least once. We have a voice memo here from Dr. Diet.
Hello, Jarrett and Tre'vell. I've been meaning to record a message since I was a guest on the show. I just wanted to say thank you to both of you and everyone else for having me on as a guest. It was a huge honor. It really meant a lot. I know I said that at the time. I still mean it now. I will say, when I listened to the episode, I was like, what is this bomb that y'all dropped at the end about ending the show?
Oh, yeah.
I wish I had known before, and I understand why things were done the way they were. And I feel just so grateful to be a part of the tail end of your journey with this podcast. I think it was the week after that episode, maybe a listener wrote in to say, to compliment both of your interviewing skills, and I second that listener. I remember thinking this at the time, but I've had the lovely opportunity, courtesy of Laura Swisher, too, of being another podcast, and I've had a couple of others, and it doesn't matter what the topic is. The two of you are so incredibly skilled at bringing out the best voice of the people on the show. Like, obviously, the people that you bring on are amazing, and I feel inspired to think my best thoughts, both when I am listening to you and when I was your guest. And I think that that's really a huge compliment to your skill. And I know you both know you are highly skilled, but it does not hurt to say it again.
It sure don't.
You just have a magic and a critical thinking style that is so divested from linear structures of whiteness that make the work that both of you do so rich. And yeah, you're badasses.
Shout out to Dr. Diet.
Thank you, Dr. Diet. I think Dr. Diet is also one of the voices that's been the most consistent on this show. Like, maybe underneath Shar. Like, we've heard from Dr. Diet quite a few times on the show, really bringing us some great insight. As you're talking about us being fantastic interviewers, one of the ideas that I'm probably going to like not do now, but we'll see. I'm really interested in interviewing interviewers about how they have conversation with people like for a living or like, you know, for public forums like this. So it's something that is in my mind a lot. But Dr. Diet, I just want to say, like, I appreciate your consistent love and support of the show and all of the things that we do, offering your voice to our listeners, whether that be through a letter or a voice note or actually guesting on the show. I sincerely appreciate it and you being a part of this ecosystem that we have. So thank you.
Dr. Diet, she said something to the effect of like, we like inspire people to like think their best thoughts or something like that. And I love that idea. Like I love that configuration of words to describe some of what we do on this show. Because I do think that we've both tried to be, particularly when we've had guests on the show. You mentioned earlier asking the questions that the audience might want to hear, and those different types of things I think has elevated it. Okay, we've got one more voice memo here from our editor, Anne-Marie Hubel.
Hi, Jarrett. Hi, Tre'vell. And also hi to Laura and Palmira. This is Anne Huber, your faithful editor. I just wanted to leave a quick message thanking you all for the opportunity to come work on this show. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. I've learned so much. I didn't know much about this show before starting, but it didn't take long to realize that it's a brilliant show hosted by brilliant folks. I want to wish you all the best of luck in the future, and I hope that our paths will cross again someday. All the best, and love you all.
I have to say, like, Anne, I go back and watch the YouTube, and like Anne be like putting little Easter eggs in there and like little moments that are like really, really fantastic. And so, Anne, we appreciate it. You've been a part of our team this whole year for the YouTube version of the show. And I appreciate that you bring your own creativity along with Palmira and Laura to make the show really special. And so I am really grateful to have had you as a part of this team.
Absolutely.
For season 4. So thank you for all of your contribution too.
Absolutely. Y'all be sleeping on the YouTube, okay? Now, I know we ending, so now you're like, well, now why the hell would I go to the YouTube? But listen, y'all be sleeping on the YouTube, one, because
yes,
I am always moisturized, okay? I'm thinking back to, I believe that was Jeff's voice memo, when he said stay moisturized. I am always moisturized, and, you know, what? Anyway, okay, fine.
Well, it's funny because like if you're listening to the podcast and not watching the YouTube, you don't see what I have to go through every time Tre'vell and I are in a Zoom meeting.
Wow.
Tre'vell has had a humidifier in their office for probably like 2 months now, maybe 3 months. How long have you had the humidifier?
A few months, yeah.
And so there's always like a smoky cloud just kind of like floating through the screen. I've wanted to get one because I need it, but I can't. We can't have two people with smoky, like smoky zooms, and I'm like, I need that, but I can't be the copycat bitch on the show.
Listen, I'm a trailblazer. What can I say?
But y'all are missing out on so many things.
Yes, you are. And shout out to Anne for really, we've had the journey with the editors. We'll get into this in the next episode. With the editing of the show and the behind the scenes of the show has been a lengthy one over these 4 years. And Anne came in at the top of the year and really, got us together in really great ways, and also edited the swimming bonus content.
Oh yes.
I keep calling it a short doc. It's not. I mean, I guess it technically is a short doc, but that's members only content. So if
We're submitting it for awards as a short.
please cut it out.
So yes, as a doc short.
Please cut it out. Anyway,
We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, you are going to hear two voices you don't get to hear very often on the show, but two names that you hear every single week. When we return, Laura Swisher, Palmira Muniz are going to be joining us for our last listener feedback segment.
Last week, The Greatest Generation, the comedy podcast about old Star Trek TV shows like Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, just had its 500th episode.
And Greatest Trek, the podcast about the new Star Trek shows like Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, and Discovery, just had its 250th episode.
So whether you have a task that's roughly 750 hours long, or you want to learn about some of the production techniques that go into making one of the greatest franchises in television history, you should give us a try either way.
The Greatest Generation and Greatest Trek, the best reviewed, most listened to Star Trek podcasts in the world. They're on Maximum Fun.
Cameron Esposito here, comedian and host of Query. Every week I get to interview someone amazing from the LGBTQIA+ community, some queeros. I chat with them about their lives, loves, careers, and more. I've talked to, giant celebs, Trixie Mattel, Lena Waithe, Tegan, and Sarah Quinn, but also astronauts, reverends, nurses. It's funny, it gets deep, and hopefully it makes you feel like you're part of something. Join me every Monday on Maximum Fun to listen to Query with Cameron Esposito.
Welcome back to FANTI. So we have promised you all to give you a little bit of the voices that you never really get to hear, but you hear their names all the time. We want to bring in producer Laura Swisher and producer Palmira Muniz. Welcome to the FANTI.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Good to be here. Thank you. Very much so.
Long-time listener, first time.
This is like your second or third time on the show now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I feel like we've had you on a couple of times.
I know, but I like to say that.
Okay, long-time listener, first-time caller. Palmira, you joined the show in the last year, but Swish, you were a part of like the pitching process of the show, the ideation and development of it. So talk to us about, how this show began and what it's meant to you over the years.
Tre'vell came to my attention when they were a frequent guest on Pop Rocket, and as Tre'vell does, they bring the razzle dazzle.
Period.
And I had mentioned to them, if you're ever looking to do a podcast, let me know, because I recognize talent. And
you do.
And then apparently they had an idea for a podcast to do with you, and they went to someone else. But then you guys made the right decision, came to Max Fun. But, it was...
Wow.
She's not wrong.
It was apparent that, when you two came in and we had sort of our meeting with the higher-ups, it was clear there's a show. It might not have been the exact show that the two of you pitched, but just, your very strong points of view. Also, journalism background meant that, you are going to be very thorough and you're not just going to be spouting off. And on top of that, you're funny, which is, that's a kind of a rare combo to have. I guess, Jarrett, you've done pretty much everything. So, host, on camera, you could stand up. Did you stand up as well? Anyways.
Yeah, I had 12 jobs, child.
I'm going back to stand up next year, yeah.
And as far as, producing, I don't know that maybe I've given, some notes here and there, but you guys are a joy to produce because you do the work. Like, you are on top of your shite. You you research thoroughly, you prep, it's really impressive. Every so often I'll be like, oh, maybe you should mention this. But for the most part, honestly, I'm just amazed at all the things that you're able to accomplish in addition to doing a weekly show. Like, it's impressive. Oh, and I will say when we first went into the recording booth, that was the when gospel music slaps and leaves a mark,
which is a title you came up with, if I'm not mistaken.
I did come up with that. But like, it was like real clear just from that episode, like, oh, I knew it was good. And we wound up, running that episode, but Jarrett was tearing up a little bit, but like, you struck a chord, and it was really emotional. It was powerful. It felt raw and real. And yeah, you guys are not afraid to, you're not afraid to be vulnerable. And I think that is, that's a tough thing to do. And you guys are doing it in public, and it's been it has been a true pleasure. And I honestly don't know what I'm going to do without y'all, because who else is going to say Laura Swisher? Pew, 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 pew. Like,
you can make it my ringtone when I call you. You've got the audio.
Okay.
Palmira, Jarrett said that you joined a year ago, but how long have you been with the show? Has it been just a year? I thought you was with us longer.
In January would have been a year.
Oh, wow. I feel like you've been here longer than that.
I was just going to say, it feels like I've been here for a couple years. No, but not just because in the way of how much I've grown as like an artist and as a person, obviously, but as an artist, alongside everybody in this room right now, like Jarrett and Tre'vell and Laura. I'm also like a multi-hyphenate, so...
Come on, filmmaker.
A Jack K of all trades.
Yeah, a Jack K of all trades.
That was a Palmira headline, which very impressive.
It was very good.
So like kind of getting, I'm producing this work, obviously, but I'm also getting all the secondhand information and getting affirmed in a lot of my insecurities and doubts that I've had about like my own career. And so getting to like listen as the sake of a producer, but really as like a student of like Tre'vell and Jarrett. I just mixed up the names.
Tre'vell and Jarrett. I love it.
And please take that part out.
No, leave that in.
How has that never happened in 6-7 years now? That's never happened before. That's some genius.
Okay, keep it in, Anne. But Jarrett and Tre'vell, excuse me, they're just my babies now, so that's the name I made for them.
I love it.
For J&T, yeah, just being affirmed without even them knowing. Like I'm just listening, receiving, and just like thinking. A lot of FANTI is thought-provoking and original, and just definitely like I learned to like stand 10 toes down, stand on business with a lot of my beliefs and just things about myself from this show and from producing this show. So that's why it's felt like so long, because I've just had so much growth. So yeah, I'm really fortunate. I'm really lucky.
We also put you through it. We put you through it. You can tell the people we put you through it, honey.
I'm weak. I mean, but it's work. This is work. You know what I mean? So like, but it was that's the work part.
Amen.
As Tre'vell loves to remind everybody, I've Hispanified a little bit of FANTI. So when you like grow up in like Caribbean, and this is y'all a walk in the park. You know what I mean? In comparison to what I had to grow up with. So it's all good.
Listen, Palmira's like, listen, we're going to get a little bit more diasporic in our blackness, which which, you know, we can always be more diasporic, okay, more community oriented. No, it's your contributions have been so wonderful, particularly in the Black History segment, like helping us, like you've brought up people that I didn't know about, right? That is important, you know, for us to like know about and spread the word about. So thank you for that. Jarrett, you were gonna say something?
No, I just appreciate like the lens of the Afro-Latinidad, like being included into our conversations and being able to appreciate like the expansiveness of Blackness, right? We talk about that quite a bit here. And like being able to see the various different ways that Blackness can show up and wanting to like be thoughtful about that more so. And so I appreciate what you've brought to the show as well in this last year. Palmira and Laura, any final thoughts for listeners as we say farewell to this last moment with y'all?
We got one episode left to go. We ain't gone yet, okay?
I don't have listener thoughts. The FANTI listeners are awesome. I actually wanted to throw a question at the two of you because having worked in entertainment for producers, for, you know, media companies, it's sometimes a very unfeeling, very kind of corporate, or, you know, no one cares about feelings. And what I respect about the two of you is, you know, Tre'vell, you just mentioned, oh, you put us through it. But any times that we have had disagreements, you have reached out. It's like, we're going to have like these frank conversations, but you are not, there's no ghosting. There's no, you know, I'm sure whatever the two of you discuss, you will eventually then also have a discussion, you know, with, you know, the people you work with. And so I just wanted to hear from you, like, how you have sort of cultivated this approach, and if it's something that you give a lot of thought to, because I know that you've also got your hands in you know, so many different ventures. How has this approach served you, but also served the people that you work with?
So Jarrett is going to disagree with what I'm about to say, as we know. That's the nature of the show. That's why we're here. We all know what this is. But I feel like for me, it is always important. Like, I always feel like business can get done, but like you can also not be an asshole, you know? But I do think that sometimes in the course of business, particularly when we are independent creators, we're Black queer people, we have various, you know, reasons why we stand on business about a particular topic or a particular, you know, circumstance or, you know, thing that we want to do. And I think sometimes in the course of, you know, us as individuals and creatives and business owners now, right? Like, we have to be a little bit more direct or strict, or like, you know, put up our boundaries effectively. And I think oftentimes people think that that's like, that the way you do that is by being brusque, right? And, you know, I just think that you get a lot more, what they say, you get a lot more bees with honey than vinegar. And so like sometimes I know for me, I've told Jarrett, I've texted Jarrett and I'd be like, baby, I feel like you was a little harsh on that comment. So I'm going to go call Palmira and just make sure Palmira received it the right way. Or let me text Swish and be like, you know, everything all right? Or I'm sure stuff, I might have said stuff, you know, similarly, but I say that to say, you know, we wanted to create a space where everybody could feel like they could contribute, hold each other accountable, and all of that, and still, like, you know, be friendly and like treat people with respect. And like, you know, if we're gonna give critiques, we give critiques of the idea, not the individual giving the idea. You know what I mean? So that's what comes to mind for me. What about for you, Jarrett?
I would say the last 6-7 years has been a lesson in leadership for me. I've been a leader in various different kinds of capacities since I was in high school, leading this club, leading this organization, leading whatever it is. And over the last 6 years, being on this team, being on a team at NABJ, being on teams for other projects that we're developing and things like that, it has been a lesson in leadership of teams, right? Because we have so many different teams that we're a part of, and most of them we lead. And so it has been important to me as a person who has been on a lot of teams to be thoughtful about what it's like to be a part of a team. And to not feel considered, or not to feel seen, or to not feel heard, or to not feel appreciated, or to not feel respected, or what have you. And to me, I feel like it is really important to me that we cultivate a space that does that makes people feel seen. I feel like it makes us all better at work. It all makes us happier to be here and makes the work better. And I think that even from like the feedback that we hear from listeners, I think it translates in that way as well. It's been really important to me, and like we don't always get it right, and there are always ways that we can do it better. But I am always really hoping that people leave the spaces that we've created, that I've created, that Tre'vell has created, feeling loved and appreciated and seen and heard and all of the different things. And so I really appreciate you saying that, Swish.
I'm feeling really unappreciated.
And Tre'vell's about to start singing, so we're going to head out at this point. Palmira, Laura, thank y'all so much for being a part of this team with us, and doing this with us every week, in the varying different ways that has looked over the course of this show. Also wanted to give a shout out to Lorraine and Jordan, who are also previous producers on the show and helping to make it what it was and what it became.
Much respect.
Yes.
Hashtag Black women. I just gotta say it. Hashtag Black women. Okay? That's it.
Absolutely. So thank y'all for everything that you do to make this show fantastic and available and ready for people. So thank you both.
Absolutely. All right, so before we get out of here, just a reminder, we are going on tour with Historically Black Phrases live, okay, across Black History Month, DC, Atlanta, New York, and Los Angeles. You can go to historicallyblackphrases.com/live tour to get all of the information about that. You can buy the book from there as well. Be sure to also check out We See Each Other, the podcast, and We See Each Other, a Black trans journey through TV and film, authored by yours truly. You can also access that on my website, Tre'vellAnderson.com.
We thank you for watching. If you're on the YouTubes and checking us out, go to FANTIPodcast.com to get all the past episodes of the show. We've only got one season on YouTube, but we've got 4 seasons on all the streaming platforms, wherever you get your podcast. So go check it out, FANTIPodcast.com. If you have a comment or question or suggestion or any of the feedback, you can hit us on the social medias at FANTI Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, YouTubes, and all that using the hashtag FANTIFam. And you can email the show, fanti@maximumfun.org.
Yes. And if you would like to support the work being done at Maximum Fun, this worker-owned, fabulous production company, you can go support by going to MaximumFun.org/join. Our music is brought to you by Corey, COR.ECE, wherever you get Slate-worthy music. Graphics by Ashley Wynn, the folks over at Moonhouse Creative. Our editor, you heard from her earlier, Anne-Marie Huber. And our 2 fabulous producers, we have producer Palmira Muniz.
And our senior producer is Laura Swisher. This is a production of Maximum Fun.